Are you a psychic, sensitive, or seeker who wants to learn more? Welcome to the Mystic School with SARA WISEMAN, where we dive deep into all things mystic and metaphysical. Here's Sarah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mystic School. I'm glad that you are all here today. We're talking today about what are your true gifts. Learn why your innate gifts and talents are what you are here to work with. And this feels like a really, I make the show list of what we're going to talk about several months in advance usually, and I'm always interested to see how they coincidentally tie into each other. But astrologically, we're about to move into some pretty awesome direct movement. The planets are all going direct after a lot of time, not just Mercury retrograde, but big stuff with Saturn and Pluto. And so things are about to get moving again, and not just moving again from last year, but moving again from maybe around 2020 is when things started to get super stuck, when COVID came, but also other things. So it's almost like we can't believe that things are going to move along. And yet, as we are, even this week, the energy is going to get to feel a little lighter. You're going to feel a little more hopeful. You're going to start to think that you can actually make some plans, or you can start to feel yourself moving into some goals that perhaps you couldn't even approach a couple years ago. So this is sort of where we are as a soul collective. I would like to invite you today to call in to Free Readings Tuesday, 888-298-5569, 888-298-5569 for Free Readings Tuesday. And I would love to chat with you about whatever you're thinking about or whatever you're noticing in your world as we sort of go into this change together. I'd also like to invite you, and just in terms of housekeeping, I'll be doing, this isn't for a while, but I'll be doing a free event with New Renaissance Books in February, which you can sign up for now. It's a free Zoom event that's Intuitive Soul, Spiritual Awakening in the Aquarian Age. You can sign up for that at sarawiseman.com. It's right there on the front page. So that's a free event. I'll be doing another free event in March with East West Bookshop formerly of Seattle, now kind of Bothell area. And that information on that will be up on the website soon too. So really happy to just kind of be with you in these different kind of event formats, which will be really great. Anyway, Free Readings Tuesday is today, 888-298-5569, and I invite you to call in and have a chat and see what's going on for you. Anyway, this idea, what are your true gifts? So one of the things that we see as we move into this new era of possibility is that, and we've been talking about this for a while, a lot of the things that we thought were important, or the things that we were told were where we should put our focus, are kind of ringing hollow. And some of this idea of anything that you had in mind about your success, in quotes, or about your achievements, or about goals that you wanted to do that were going to bring you a bunch of money, or a bunch of fame, or a bunch of influence, all of the sort of get rich and famous fast sort of ideas, or all of the sort of let's slog along on a path we chose or someone else chose for us and work our way to the top. These ideas of success, of being ahead of others or being better than others, this is what, as part of the Aquarian Age, we're noticing we are less interested in being better than, or being ahead of, or being above. We are less interested in holding the power. And, you might say, oh, what are you talking about? Like politicians are grasping the power. It's like, yes, that's happening now. But some of those folks are like the last ones to catch on to like what's actually happening, right? But we're noticing we are less interested in the whole game of, I'm going to call it the game of separation. We are less interested in the game of separation because we are beginning to finally understand that we are a soul collective. So if you imagine that we're a water balloon, that's the collective soul is one giant water balloon. And inside the water balloon, we're little pieces of water. Like I'm a little drop of water and you're a little drop of water and somebody else and so on. And obviously we're not separate. And if one drop of water starts to get really big, like it can't stop itself from spreading into the other drops of water. Like it can't be separate, even if it's in its own mind, like, well, I got promoted and I'm an influencer and I have this many followers and I make this much money and what have you. It's like, this is all separation thinking. When the reality is we're just a bunch of drops of water in one big water balloon making our way. And of course, the water balloon is the earth. We're all there together. And so this idea of separation thinking is falling away. We are at the beginning parts of this falling away. Much as I sort of bemoan technology, sometimes we do know that our phones have been creating a telepathy among us that lets us know our lack of separation or our inability to separate from each other over and over and over again. When I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones yet. And so, the phone would ring, it would be a landline, and you would guess, like, who could it be? And often you would guess correctly because you were starting to become in tune with this idea of, I can sense when another soul is contacting me. And now with this continued aspect, we are like continually in nonstop communication with each other through our device. This idea of understanding, like, I can be in touch with someone in any part of the world, first with my phone or with the computer, and then I'm noticing I can do it in my mind. I can do it in my mind. The other day I was thinking about a person and an email came in from that person. This is this type of telepathy that we're starting to experience. And as we experience this greater power, or this actually greater awareness of our collective soul communicating amongst itself, we're starting to realize that the old myths of separation, of being supposedly better than, or having more power, or more money, or more influence, or being better looking, or having more material items, we're realizing that whole way of being was kind of like a false pretense. It was the false idea of separation. And so if we're so actively like, well, we're not separate, we're actually one collective soul. So what do we do with all of our old ideas that told us we weren't? And this is where we're seeing, like, they're dropping away. And this is why, these old structures of separation, I will be better than you, but you're not. Or you will be better than me, but you're not. And so these old ideas are fading out. And this also means that in your own approach to what you want to accomplish in your life, maybe, a couple of years ago, you were like, I have to get this certification, or I have to make this much money, or I have to lose this much weight. Again, views that are based on separation, views that are based on I will be better than the others, I will be unique and special and different. And now with this onslaught of collective soul recognizing itself, for each of us, those goals are dropping down too. So you may no longer be interested in the time and effort it takes to achieve a certain money amount because you realize like that's just separation thinking. That's old separation thinking. Or you may have these goals that you really wanted to do that would, maybe you wanted to get a certain number of followers or something and make a bunch of money that way. It's possible. It's not necessarily a great, enjoyable thing to do. You're just like, why am I doing this? This doesn't really have value. So looking at your true gifts, and your true gifts are probably around your ability to connect with collective soul. These are the gifts that are being called forward now. So any kind of psychic gifts you have, those are being asked to come forward because you with psychic gifts, which is most of you, are able to sense, again, this idea collective soul recognizes itself. You're able to recognize the energy as it's coming in. You're able to communicate with each other and begin to express some of these ideas. So opening into your psychic gifts of all kinds, understanding that this collective soul does not just mean living humans, it also means the other dimensions, mediumship, the ancestry, the departed, all of this awareness coming forward. Knowing that it doesn't just mean humans living or departed or future, it also means the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, all of the energetic beings that, we just pretend aren't even there. And then we just wonder why things happen that are so interesting. It's like we have to turn our mind to this idea that everything's communicating. So the gifts that make the most sense are any gift that is about oneness. Any gift that helps to create oneness is where we're meant to be focusing. And any gifts that are about separation, I am better than you, I'm going to make this much money, I'm going to get this type of degree, I'm going to get this type of success on the ladder. Anything that's about separating, that's not where your gifts are right now. Unfortunately, those would have been really handy 20 years ago, but now we've changed. And so we have new goals and we have new markers of what human evolution is about. So as you think about your true gifts, your true gifts have been supplied to you since you were born. Deep sensitivity, ability to dream, musicality, ability to be in connection with nature, ability to be compassionate, ability to be kind, ability to include others, ability to speak out for things that are incorrect or things that are old ways of thinking, ability to support those who have been marginalized. All of these gifts, ability to communicate, ability to heal, ability to relax, ability to laugh, these sort of softer skills or softer talents are what is being called forward now. So just think about, your unique personality. Those are where your gifts are going to be found, like how you show up, how you showed up since birth, who you were, you've always been. And just focus on honing in on those gifts outside of the whole old idea of structure and separation and so forth. Again, oneness is where it's at. This is where we're going. You can fight it, but it won't work that well for you. Much easier to be a part of, an aware part of collective soul in process of very wonderful, fast, long-awaited evolution. Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to go to the phones. And again, we have free readings Tuesday, 888-298-5569, 888-298-5569. And we have Molly calling from Boise. Molly, welcome.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for your patience. What can I help you out with today?
Well, it's such a trip that I'm calling in today because I've actually, and I apologize, I've never listened to your show before. I didn't know you had a show. And I got an email from you because I receive your newsletters.
Mm-hmm.
And I read what it had to do with today was just a lovely message about dreaming, and then it said, "Oh, you're having a live call-in show," and it just all fell into place. And then as I was listening to you, I was like, "My God, this is just spot on. This is where I'm at right now. I'm about to open, or I just announced today, this morning, the opening of my energy medicine practice, and I'm feeling really, really good about it. Really excited." And so, for whatever reason, opened my mail, looked at yours, called in, and so I guess I'd just like to know what you sense in the direction of my work. Any advice?
Yeah, I do have some questions. Yeah, thank you. So that's great. So you just completely tracked along on all the synchronicities throwing themselves in your path, and then here we are now. So that's wonderful. I have a question. Did you move to Boise, or have you been there for a while?
Well, I'm from Boise, but we just moved back a year ago. We were in the Washington area for about 8 years.
Okay.
Where I was working as a PA, like in modern medicine, and then I just switched over.
Okay, so that's what I'm sensing. So it feels like so part of it is I know that Boise had a lot of people decided to move to Boise the last couple of years, and so that's part of this like idea that like a different style of person has arrived there than used to be there, and then this sense of like you've come back, but it's kind of new, and so
different.
Yeah. So this is the place of not hesitating. Like, don't think old Boise when you're thinking about your offerings. Don't think old Boise, whatever that means to you, like the Boise you were from. Really allow yourself to kind of try like a bunch of what you might consider like it's too far out, or it's too weird, or nobody will get it, and let go of that idea. Really just whatever you are, just like in this call or in this, interaction, you were just guided to it. Let yourself be guided to trying stuff that you maybe don't even have a background in, and just like you're working on something starts to happen, and just like go with that, as opposed to, oh, I can't do that. I only know how to do this far, and just see what happens. Like, I have a feeling your practice is going to like level up or get pretty far out there really fast. And that might be weird for you, but that's exactly why you're being brought to Boise again, to provide that to people that are there. So just
go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
No, I love that. I think you're spot on. I feel like I'm at the brink of like this huge shift, but I'm approaching the creation of this practice from a different stance. Like it feels like it's coming from a whole different place from all the other jobs and all the other pursuits I've had in my life. And so I feel like divinely guided, but I also feel like, well, like out on a limb.
Yes. Yeah. And that's like the most interesting place to be working. And that is actually where you can do, like I teach, groups all the time. And I mostly never know what we're going to be doing that day. I just like
Yeah.
the group shows up or for you, the client shows up and you might have had a general plan of, I think I'll try this.
Right.
And then you're just going to open to like, universe, just show me. And that's the approach. That's that curious, pioneering, exploring, experimenting part. And of course, you have the reason this works for you is because you have all the protocol of safety, ethics, and so forth already built in from your other experiences. So now you're free to sort of allow things to open up a lot more than you might have expected.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Like, spot on. I'm so glad I had that modern background to stand on, but like, yeah, it's just different. It's amazing. I'm excited.
And boy, people need you. So it's interesting to me talking to people who end up in different parts of the world. It's like everyone's being spread out to like work from different spots so that different people can be reached. Anyway, Molly, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate your time and wish you the best. It should be, it's just you're gonna have lots of clients and it's gonna be really interesting for you. So that's good.
Thank you so much. And it's just so good to hear encouragement. And thank you for your help and your time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yep. Okay. Thank you. So we have time for one more caller. If someone wants to call in, 888-298-5569, 888-298-5569. Call in quickly so we have enough time to chat. I think Molly brings up some pretty interesting ideas of kind of a pretty sort of a template of, she worked in more traditional healing. She left that. She did a big voyage. You don't all have to move, but this idea of leaving one thing behind and opening up to a whole different way of working. And it's not just Molly that's doing this. It's me, it's you, it's others. We're just sort of saying, why am I working in this structure when what I'm actually interested in, what I'm actually good at is this? And what if instead of just taking my whole life and doing the thing I don't want, what if I actually just started doing what I want and doing what I'm good at and seeing how that contributes to this world? And what will begin to happen is that more and more and more of us will start to do what we love and what we're naturally the best at, outside of the idea of like, is this normal or is this allowed or what will my family say and so on. We just sort of do it. And then we start to see this opening of more creativity, more ideas being exchanged, more joy because we're actually doing what we find interesting, more correct use of our talents. And again, I'm not suggesting people, Molly's a good example too of she had all this preparation, as a lot of you guys have a lot of preparation in different things you've been doing over the years. So it's not like she's just flinging herself out into something that she has no experience with. She has the background, and now she's going to take that and expand. Let's see if we have time. We have Danielle from Bellevue. I don't know if we'll have time, but Danielle, go ahead. What's on your mind today?
Hello. So I retired a few years ago, and I'm just wondering, what should I be doing? Do you have any insight for me?
I think that for you, when you aren't sure of what you should be doing, it's sort of weird. Like, have you lived in Bellevue a long time?
18 years.
Yeah, it's feeling like that is the piece. It's not that Bellevue's bad. It's not. It's just that there is quite a big world outside of Bellevue, and sort of this idea of what else can you explore that is different than what you've been experiencing, not necessarily moving, but going to things in different places, maybe doing some traveling, and gaining some new perspective on how other places are working. Like there's nothing really for you in Bellevue. Like you sort of consumed all that already. And so what you're going to need to do to find your next step is to go outside of that type of, that particular place in the map. You're just going to have to go out and try some new things before you find your way.
Like Arizona, does that resonate?
Arizona, maybe, if it's different enough culturally. In some ways, it sounds like it's a little bit more of Bellevue to me, which is, I mean, not climate wise, but in terms of the people you're going to meet. So needing to really rub shoulders with some different types of people is sort of different people with different backgrounds, with different perspectives. That's where you're going to find the next piece. And it's not like you need to stay, you don't have to travel to India and find it there, but just sort of broadening your cultural universe, I guess, is sort of where it's going to be for you.
So I am from Idaho. So the previous caller returned to Boise, which I grew up near there in Glen Story, Idaho. So I never thought I would move back there. Is that something that's resonating?
No, that is coincidental, but no, I don't see that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, just, the universe will just be open, and the universe just be like, okay, universe, it's not in Bellevue. Maybe parts of Arizona maybe, but just like show me this next different thing. And then instead of saying, oh no, that's just, I could never do that, maybe go do that thing that seems sort of odd and different to you. That's okay. Different. And that's where the starting point for you is. So it's like you've got a little journey to find the next thing. So
okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for calling, Danielle. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes when we live in one particular culture, one family, all this, we got to make some changes and get some new influences. Everybody, thank you so much for calling. Remember the free event in February at SARAWISEMAN.com. We've got a free mini course there, and look forward to being with you next week. Thanks for listening.